Namaste, Jai Bharat. I used to look at the Pakistani YouTubers. Interesting, they take a lot of pain in making their YouTube videos. They go with another person, should be holding the camera, and this person is something like taking an interview with a mic in his hand and asking things, questions to people, interacting with people of all kind. Mostly, I see that they don't get very lettered uh, people to discuss things with. But then, nonetheless, the speciality in the Pakistani society is that everyone has an opinion. It's something like some places in our nation also, especially. No, I don't want to say. Some places, everyone has their own opinion, and each one speaks as though he is an authority. This usually we see in Pakistan society more. Doesn't mean that in our society there are no such people. There are many people. So, you see them discussing so many phenomena. Mostly, what they do is a phenomenon they take and compare it with Bharat, and such comparisons. Some sensible YouTubers of Pakistan, they always say we have problem. They identify their problem as lack of education. That's what mostly the Pakistani YouTubers had been doing, most of them. They say education could solve their problem. They say we are not educated and people in Bharat are educated. They say that by and large that is correct in the sense that we have rather free education. Free in the sense education which is supposed to be unbiased. They have a kind of education which is madrasa based, which is very, very, very one-sided, biased, and many times foolish. So this they keep speaking. But my question is, can education make you wise? Can education give you knowledge? If that is the case, Karl Marx, he should not have worried about educating the educators. No. Marx has really rightly addressed it during his time, 18th century period. He says if education has to be a remedy to anything, he speaks from his experience. Mostly Marx speaks from his experience. Education, if it has to be helping at any point in society, then there must be a program to educate the educators, because the educators are hopeless. This is what he says. Now, that's one thing. I just remembered the struggle of Marx with educating the educators. So, of course, his kind of education is in the given ideology of proletarian movement, etc. Now, why do you really think education is going to solve the problem is my question. Your experience will not allow you to say yes. Your experiences will not allow you to say yes. It will be difficult for you to spontaneously say that education can solve the social problems. Certainly not. And why is it so? Why is it so? On all peripheral understanding, on all bookish understanding, when you know things, you are supposed to be getting refined, but that doesn't happen. Now, we normally treat knowledge as a mango tree with plenty of mangoes on it, and they are ripening. The mango tree is full of mangoes, then naturally it will come down. Its head comes down. It bows. It bows in the weight of its product. Its product is mangoes. The more the mangoes, the more it comes down. It should have been the case with human being. The more you know, the more you become humble. Should become humble. The more you understand things, the more you know things, you should be more humble. But I don't think many people have got experiences of people becoming humble out of knowing things. Not many people you find in that category. So, people, especially in Bharat, because we are supposed to be a very educated society. Pakistan, they can afford to dream that education can solve the social problems because there are not many people educated. Even if they are educated, they have the stamp of madrasa on their forehead. So they can't be really free in thinking. In thinking, they can't be free. That's the most appalling thing. And understanding and gathering information. Now, I will not speak more. I'll straight come to the point. Education gives you information, all kinds of various information. Now, this information must have the property of affecting the person who is knowing, who is gathering the information. So, information must affect the gatherer, who is supposed to be the knower, but I am not calling him knower as yet, because to call somebody as a knower, it must be the case that what he gathers must turn into knowledge. Information does not turn itself into knowledge, but information stays at the level of information. If it has to become knowledge, it has to undergo a process. Not the information, the person who is collecting the information must undergo a process. The information should affect, I repeat in capital letters, the information must affect the person who gathers it. It must affect him in such a manner that it refines him. It refines him, it purifies him. Here, refining, purifying, immediately at once means that it removes impurities, unwanted contents, and makes him minus all the unnecessary, unwanted impurities, which we consider as impurities, impurities in any case, and makes him a refined human being. And if information is having that property of making a person refined, then that information becomes knowledge. Partly it is with the information itself, and largely it is with the person concerned who is gathering information. Then we can say the information has turned into knowledge. Then only we can say that somebody knows things. And this process has, until this process happens, we have to say that nobody knows anything. You have a lot of information. You went and got a PhD. You are supposed to have a lot of information, which is memory. You memorize so many things. You remember so many things. But these things, if it had not made any changes to you, if it had not made any changes to you, if it had not made you, refined you into a better human being, or better person, whosoever, whatever you are, then those things, information doesn't make any sense. Then we don't call it as knowledge. Now, don't think it is my theory. Don't think that I invented this. I completely borrow from one of my ancestors, 3rd century BC, Maharshi Akshapada Gautama. He wrote the text Nyaya Sutra. I blindly borrowed, not really blindly, I completely borrowed this thought from him. So, I need not to invent the things. The wheel is already invented. So many centuries before, 3rd century BC, that book is Nyaya Sutra. And the book had got so many commentaries, and each commentary is unique in itself. It had commentaries through centuries and ages. This is Bharat, with such knowledge tradition, with so many texts, each text having so many interpretations, and each interpretation becoming unique, providing knowledge. And so we people don't have to reinvent the wheel. Our ancestors had done all the job. There is no area where they have not looked into. So education, don't think, can solve the problem. I'm talking to my one-time brothers, Pakistani, one-time brothers in the sense before their ancestors got Islamized. They were Hindus. So definitely, I'm talking to them. Don't depend on education. Education, until it refines you, until those informations refines you into a refined human being, then till that time, information is only at the level of information. They don't turn into knowledge, and it's only knowledge that can make you think better and work better. So it must have the property of affecting. Affect is in our into purity. Affect a person into refinement. Affecting a person in such a manner that he goes into a refined human existence and becomes a Sanskrita, a better human being. Till such time the information can affect you, it makes no sense. You may have a PhD, but Jahiliyat will remain sometimes with all the knowledge. Those people, you think all the people in Pakistan are not lettered, not educated? Many of them are educated, most of them are educated. Still, they would go about saying the earth is still flat. They would say Allah created everything. This, of course, the scientists can't accept. He would somehow say this and that together for his existence, or to become smooth on his imagination. So don't depend on education. Education can't do everything. Education can do wonders. No, education can do nothing until the person who is getting educated is affected by the education. And I would again quote the Maharshi Akshapada Gautama, my ancestor. He would say, knowledge worth the name, I repeat, knowledge worth the name must have the property of affectivity. That's affecting the novel. I'll repeat it, and with that I'll conclude. Knowledge worth the name must have the property of affectivity. Must have the property of affectivity. Till we meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat. Jai Sri Ram.